Noel Mooney, welcome home and welcome back. Your plans for the next 6 months with the FEI?
Well, I'm looking forward to starting as secondment from UEFA on the 3rd of June for 6 months. And the initial task at hand is to start rebuilding the trust with people in Irish football. We've had a difficult couple of months here in Ireland, but we're ready to listen to the different stakeholders. The board here is committed to reform. So the next couple of months there'll be a few different things happening. One is listening to create that reform and to implement them changes. And then also there's a lot of things in Irish football that need to be progressed outside of that reform, that we need to further these strategies and lay the foundation really for a bright new chapter for Irish football.
You're here, as you say, on secondment from UEFA. You're not here as their watchdog.
I'm joining the FEI full-time to lead the administration for 6 months. With UEFA, I won't be doing any work with them except engaging with their staff to do work here for the FEI as required and to access funding that's required from UEFA to help the Irish game to grow.
From your experience with UEFA and your context, how can UEFA help the FEI now, and what sort of precedent is out there?
At UEFA, they've got great development programs that work across all 55 federations, and as required, a federation can use this expertise from strategic planning to participation to financial planning. And at the FEI, we will access as much support as is required from UEFA to get the game moving well here again in Ireland. I don't quite know how much support is required yet. When I join in June, we'll assess the situation together with the staff here and agree what kind of support UEFA we can get from them, and then we will have no hesitation in accessing all that support, whether it be personnel or finance or whatever area UEFA and FIFA can help us in, because having seen at first hand their resources, it's immense, and I think it's a great time for the FEI to capitalise upon that.
And there are, of course, people will know about the Greek situation, and you might expand on that first, but there's also a Portuguese example.
Well, in Greece they had a lot of issues with the game, huge governance issues and conflicts between different stakeholders. So when the parties couldn't agree between themselves how to bring the game forward, which is very unlike in Ireland where we all agree what needs to happen really. In Greece they couldn't agree, so there was a lot of support from UEFA and from FIFA to bring neutral people into that situation so they could find a common ground between everybody and bring it forward, because the federation themselves couldn't find that solution. So that was a very strong intervention. Whereas on the other hand, Portugal, in 2015, it was a new president and general secretary came in. They had a blank canvas of Portuguese football, and we helped them to build the entire strategic organisational plan, what their key objectives were as a federation, their roadmap for the future, whether that's growing women's football or growing participation or elite performance or digital engagement, which they're very strong at in marketing and commercial areas. So the Portuguese FA and ourselves worked hand in hand to create the strategy for Portuguese football and deliver upon it, and the Portuguese FA have gone from strength to strength. It's been great to play a role in that, and I know they're developing their new strategy for the future and they'll go to another level, but again very much in association with UEFA and the staff there.
As you say, you're on secondment, but are you effectively in charge of Irish football for the next 6 months?
In Irish football, the FAI board is in charge of the strategy for Irish football. The job of the administration is simply to implement that strategy that's approved by the board. So the administration is never in charge of Irish football. It should always be the board, and that's how it'll be in my 6 months here.
Would you like to be the next CEO of the FEI?
I'm really happy at UEFA as head of business development across European football. The ambition is to roll up the sleeves here, work extremely hard as a servant to Irish football, and then to return to UEFA at the end of November to continue my work in European football.
And just in terms of what's out there at the moment, I mean, have you ever been offered the CEO job before, or have you previously discussed the CEO job?
I've never discussed the role of CEO at the FEI. I suppose in UEFA, when you're in a role where you're leading with your team the development of European football, I don't think it's unusual actually for people to think maybe if you go home you would lead the organisation or play a leading role in the organisation. So I suppose it wouldn't be unusual, but I've certainly never discussed it with the FEI.
You were involved in a meeting with the staff in Abbottstown on Monday morning, and some of them you would have worked with in the past, some of them were new to you. What's your message to the staff at the FEI today?
Well, the staff at the FEI have done a tremendous job over many years. So if you look at areas like coach education or participation or women's football, the game is actually flourishing at grassroots level and across a range of areas. So what I saw today was a very motivated, committed staff who acknowledge that we're in a trying period, but just want that leadership from everyone here, from the board, from the administration, to get us back on that path for growth. And I saw this morning the attitude of the staff, it's raring to go. So we are open for business. We are looking to get more boys and girls to play our sport, more people to go to our matches, more people to engage with the sport. That's what the FEI is all about, is getting more people to fall in love with football. The staff here are committed to that, and that's what we're going to do every day.
And of course, one of the key stakeholders in Irish football is the government. I mean, what are you going to say to them?
The government play a very important role in Irish football. They've been very good supporters of the game for many years. They're a key stakeholder for the FEI. They support programmes that address issues of the nation, not just the football. They help us to tackle issues like obesity and antisocial behaviour, etc. So they invest in football, but they get a huge return in terms of what they get from their investment. But we're currently working with the FEI from the UEFA perspective on the social return investment model, which shows that for every euro that the government invest in grassroots football, what the return is to the exchequer in terms of savings of the economy, social benefits, etc. And the returns will be hundreds of millions of euro. We're just getting the final number now. But we know that the FEI produces huge value for money for the government, and long may that continue.
And you've seen already with Scotland, you've done a similar research in Scotland, and the figure is quite phenomenal.
Well, in Scotland, it was more than £1 billion sterling that the government receive every year for their relatively small investment in grassroots football. Every country that we've done the social return investment model in, we've seen significant returns, and the model is quite conservative. We don't include professional football, for example. It's very much focused on boys and girls playing football. And the returns are many, many multiples. In Italy, I think it's 20 euros the government get back for every euro that they invest in the sport. So football offers tremendous value. We're really proud of what we can offer society. We will use football here to create a better country. And that's what we will continue to do.
So there is a desire to work with government to restore funding as soon as possible, and perhaps even an invitation to government to increase the funding for Irish football.
Yeah, football in particular offers huge benefits to the government and a large return to the exchequer. So any investment in getting people to play football is going to be a good one for the government. We look forward to working closely with the government, to restore the funding, but also to put a business case forward whereby in the future we can increase funding for football because of the value that we provide to society.
Sponsors are key to any sport, and particularly to Irish football. At this particular moment in time, what's your message to sponsors, and what's your hope to work with them going forward?
We can understand why sponsors would be looking to the future. The reason that anyone does a sponsorship is because of this transfer of values from their own brand to the sports property, or vice versa. And because of the last couple of months, they will be looking for improved, I suppose, values going forward. When the board bring forward this reform, the values of the federation will come true in the future, and that will allow the sponsors to benefit from good core values of the organisation, doing the right thing, serving Irish people with the sport, and the sponsors will get a really good return for their investment in the FEI because of our performance across society and at the highest levels.
A lot of League of Ireland fans will remember you as a goalkeeper back in the day, and of course you're a former League of Ireland administrator as well. Where do you think the League of Ireland sits at this moment in time, and how important is it to you over these next 6 months?
Well, as a fan and as a player in the League of Ireland pretty much all of my life, it's something that's extremely close to my heart. It's something that I think there's a buzz around the league at the moment, but I do believe that over the longer period, over the next few years, that we can really do a tremendous job with the league in every area, whether that's growing attendances, getting more media coverage and more media rights, improved infrastructure, continuing the technical ability of the players, etc. I would work with a lot of leagues around Europe, and this league is one that has huge potential, and our role here is to optimise that potential over the next few years.
We've seen in recent months League of Ireland matches being postponed because Stephen Kenny has called players up to the under-21 squad. Mick McCarthy has called Jack Byrne into the senior squad. Would you love to see a day when every boy and girl growing up wants to play National League football with the men's teams or with the women's team in Ireland with their local clubs?
That should be the ambition of every boy and girl in Ireland, is to play top level football in their country, of course. The Airtricity League is building as a product, but you would want boys to want to be top players in their country. That should be a burning ambition for them, and the same with the girls. It should be an ambition rather than going off to England at a young age. You want them to reach their potential here in our own league and to develop to their fullest in our own league. We've seen over the last number of years players reach a really high level in our league and our European performances improve. Some have gone on to top leagues. I mean, you'll never stop that. There's players from all over the world will go to the Premier League, for example. But certainly we would want every boy and girl to have that burning ambition to play at the top flight of Irish football.
In terms of the football family, we refer to it an awful lot, and in the current debate there's been a lot of mention of the football family, but the grassroots, the fans, the parents, the volunteers who go out and mark pitches every weekend, the coaches who work with underage teams, with senior teams, what do you say to them today?
I would say Irish football has gone through a difficult couple of months, but it goes into every town, village, city in this country. It's an enormous social movement. We should be extremely proud of Irish football because it lights up the country every week. Every family pretty much is involved in football in some way. Once we put through the reform that's very much required at the FEI, Irish football will go from strength to strength. There's no doubt about that. There is a new chapter coming for Irish football, and I just would like everyone to be very positive about what's coming. I think it's an opportunity for us to build something new, and we'd like to listen to all of them people, whether they're fans, whether they're people who do put up the nets and the goalposts every weekend. We want to hear their voices. What do they want to see Irish football look like in the future? Now is their opportunity to speak about that, and various forums over the next couple of months will listen to their voices, and our role here at the FEI is to implement that change they crave and that we crave as much as they do, because we want to see Irish football reach its full potential. That's what we're here to do, and we will work extremely hard to ensure that happens, and I'm very, very confident that it can happen.
And you very much personally support this call for governance reform?
The governance reform offers the FEI a brilliant opportunity to create a new chapter. It's crucial that we recognise the need for change. That's crucial because there's no other way, there's no alternative. We can't stay as we are. We must change and evolve like any business or any organisation, but now is our moment. So when the recommendations come back from the governance review group, it's incumbent upon the members to really consider that importance for change and to make sure that change occurs now to allow us to grow the game of football in the future.
One of the recent reviews in Irish football was the Jonathan Hall Associates report, and there have been suggestions in some quarters that maybe you introduced the FEI to Jonathan Hall, or that maybe you were involved in that report. Can you answer those questions?
No, I had no involvement in the Jonathan Hall report. I don't know how it was introduced to the FEI. But I read the report and I noted the findings of it at the time, but no, I didn't have any involvement in the Jonathan Hall report.
And in terms of governance reform, again, it was quoted at the weekend, but remarks you made to the 2017 AGM in Kilkenny, how do you marry those with where we are today?
Well, the FEI has many sides to it. I mean, the work they do at coach education, for example, or developing grassroots football, the work of our development officers in towns and cities across Ireland is really, really good, and I get the opportunity to see all the 55 federations in actions in all different ways. And for sure, from when I joined the FEI to when I left, certainly 7.5 years ago, the FEI had grown immeasurably, and it is on the right track in many ways. The FEI, below the surface, I suppose, in the towns and villages, the grassroots club that I'm involved in would have seen the services from the FEI grow a lot and improve a lot. So in many areas, the FEI as an organisation is very, very good. What's happened in the last couple of months, I suppose, has put a big shadow over all of the work of the FEI. And I think that's unfortunate that people will say because some things happened in the organisation that, as I say, cast a shadow over all the rest of it. It's a shame for, I suppose, all the people in the village, in my own grassroots club, who feel that they're tainted a bit by whatever reviews are ongoing at the moment.
And in terms of what you actually said in 2017, I mean, you would have travelled all over Europe going to AGMs and federation meetings?
Yeah, so part of my role at UEFA is to visit the annual Congress of Football Federations. We'll make a speech on behalf of UEFA, on behalf of our president, and generally we will be complimentary of the federation when we do speak to them. However, as I say, the FA has many faces. In many areas it does tremendous work across a different array of areas. So the FA would be held up in some areas as a barometer for other federations. As I say, for community development, for example, if Eastern federations had the same attitude towards it as the FAI, European football would be in a much better place. We have huge countries like Turkey, Russia, Ukraine that would be far behind the FAI in terms of developing the sport at grassroots level. So I think the FAI can, in many areas, be seen as a leading federation in UEFA, that's for sure. And it's just a shame that the things that have happened, I suppose, have cast a shadow on the really good work of the FAI.
And in terms of the current investigations and processes, you respect them, but you're not here to influence them.
The reviews and the investigations that are going on are very much the responsibility of the board here and the subgroup. So in the administration, we don't have any role in reviews or investigations or anything like that. So I look forward to seeing what comes out at the other side, whether it's the investigations or reviews that are there, plus the governance review group, etc. All of that stuff that's coming, while it may be difficult, some of it, for Irish football people to hear and to think about, I suppose, offers us the opportunity for change and to evolve as an organisation and to be better in the future, much better in the future, a lot of the things that we do. So we welcome change, we welcome the results that are coming, and we must respond to that in kind.
And finally, Noel, you're heading back to Switzerland today. When are you back with the FAI?
June the 3rd is a bank holiday here in Ireland, but football never sleeps. So we will be here on June the 3rd with the sleeves rolled up, ready to get stuck into the next 6 months. There's a hell of a lot to do. There's different speeds at which we have to work, urgent things, things that are not so urgent but are important for Irish football. And then the longer term stuff, I suppose, we have a strategy at the FAI from 2016 to 2020. In 2019, you'd start to look at that. I think it's a really good time now because the amount of discussion that's happening on Irish football at the moment, the amount of voices that are talking about Irish football and the views that are being expressed, it's a brilliant opportunity to document all that. There's proposals out there somewhere, I know, on Irish football that the FAI is keen to listen to and to incorporate that into our strategic plan. The 2016 to 2021 had 9 key pillars that the FAI have been delivering over the last 4 years. And I'm looking forward to seeing and to, I suppose, starting the process where the new strategy will take Irish football to new heights.